And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. For today's podcast episode, I have my good friend Charlie with me.
Hello.
And how you been doing, man? How's everything been going with you for throughout the day?
It's fine. Nothing's going on. Um, this is the last movie I watched last night. Yeah, I have some thoughts on this one.
Okay, so before we get into our thoughts and everything with this, I just want to mention something. If you are into the podcasting world, into the podcasting community and stuff like that, or if you're just listening to podcast itself, I recommend Good Pods. And they're not a sponsor or anything, but Good Pods is a much better app when it comes down to ranking our show, coming down to commenting on our show, and also too, it helps with the community itself within the podcasting community as well. Because now we can actually interact with our fans and stuff like that with the rankings, talk to our fans and things like that. So check out Good Pods. They're a good, easy way of actually listening to your podcast and everything, much better than Apple Podcasts and things like that. So, with further ado, let's go on ahead, get into our review for the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. So, here's the thing. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've seen Tokyo Drift. Last time I saw this was during my college years in 2006. That was like my last time that I saw Tokyo Drift. All I remember was how Han died and everything, but I didn't remember the cause and the reason why Han died. And I'm actually going to go on ahead and say something that regards to F9 later on as to what I think about the events that happened in this movie and stuff like that too. But anyways, basically this movie starts off with Oro Valley High School student Sean Boswell lives with his mother. They've been forced to relocate multiple times due to Sean's attitude and stuff like that. And he's the new kid in school, so everybody's going to be messing with him and stuff like that. And then so this other guy, this jock who has a Dodge Viper, decides that he's going to try and challenge Sean to a race. So during this whole entire opening sequence and everything, basically Sean is just trying to go ahead, walk it off and everything and stuff like that. Yeah, he has that little smirky attitude, but he's also trying to walk it off and everything to where he doesn't have to relocate or anything like that because he's already put his mother through enough. And then as he's getting ready to drive off, the douchebag jock throws the baseball into the back of the car, and that's what sets Sean off. And then that's when they decide to go do the race. Now, this is actually probably a pretty cool action sequence for me personally. I like the action sequence going through the construction site and then Sean coming off to the side of the Viper and everything too, because he's also in a muscle car and he just comes out of nowhere. It kind of reminds you of Need for Speed back in the 90s kind of flavor that we used to have. And all of a sudden, he just comes out of nowhere, jumps over the guy, and he winds up in first place. And then it's pretty much like a race where they're both wind up on top of each other, pretty much banging into each other and things like that. Next thing you know, Sean winds up winning the race, but the way he wins the race is this: he makes the douchebag jock crash into some like a pole. He ends up crashing into a pole, and then basically the airbags deploy. Next thing you know, Sean ends up doing it's trying to drift. It looks like, but he's not drifting. It actually ends up making him flip and destroying his car. Next thing you know, they're inside the principal's office and everything. And of course, the girls also told her douchebag boyfriend before they actually crashed, well, I know who's going to take me to prom tonight. And then all of a sudden, they're inside the principal's office, like I said, and he's just smiling at her, like, "Yeah, I'm your date now." But what did you think? What did you think of the open sequences and stuff?
Well, to go in, this is the one movie I never really saw in its entirety. I knew Han died. I knew of that. And I knew the ending. But this one I don't know. It's just like I didn't like, and I tried watching it years and years ago, and I stopped because it was just bad. This movie just definitely felt like directed DVD quality, and there's a reason this movie only made 158 million worldwide. It became the lowest grossing film in this franchise. This movie almost ended the Fast and the Furious movies until they came to Vin Diesel and asked him, "We want you to produce these movies," and he goes, "Yeah, I'm in." But Paul Walker's got to be back in this too. I need the rest of my people. And this is when Vin Diesel took over control for this and steadied the ship. But the sequence was okay. I mean, the Sean Boswell, they casted him, they tried to make him dumb. They made him drive the muscle car. They had him kind of look like him a little bit. They kind of had his mannerisms. I mean, the race was okay. I mean, it's very high schooly, and it's just like it was just very pretend. Like, and then of course the rich people get off, and then you feel bad for the girl because the way the douchebag boyfriend. You could say it was really weird because the thing that they crashed into is kind of the stuff you see on the side of the road, kind of like the kind of like the concrete, like kind of like the cement filled like tunnel tubing things or whatever stuff you do for roads and stuff. I don't know the proper term. Anybody that's listening in the chat, if their infrastructure, they know exactly what this kind of this thing, like the proper term is. Let us know. But they crash into something that could almost seriously kill somebody if they crash it in that speed. And then Sean tries to drift and muscle, and of course it was going to fail, but it just, I don't know. The opening really didn't sell me in it. I was like, I'm watching it, and I was actually pretty much, I was bored. Like this is definitely my least favorite of the Fast and the Furious movies. It is for me personally. It's just, it doesn't feel like it. I mean, yeah, you have Han in there. The thing is, I like the guys. I like Sean Boswell, Twinkie, Eric Young. I think that was his name, Eric. And yeah, I think it was an Twinkie. Let me see, Earl. Yeah, it was Earl. I like those guys in Fast 9 more than I actually liked them in this movie. I mean, for me, I mean, the opening is that I know I was watching and I was actually really bored. And I'll get into some positives that I liked from it later on, but it just, for me, it's just, and then the mom being, I mean, that's how they get out. That's how she helps his son out. She pretty much sleeps with all the police officers to get him off. I mean, that's
here's another thing.
Seems like, but that's just me. Go ahead, John.
Right. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. This is my least favorite as well, to be honest with you. This does not feel like a Fast and the Furious movie. This actually does feel like a straight to DVD release. As a matter of fact, they were going to make probably another movie if it wasn't for Vin Diesel showing up at the end, where it was probably going to be straight to home video release. But Vin Diesel shows up at the end, and that's to hype everybody up, saying, yes, Dominic is back. We're back at where we need to be at. And no more straight to DVD releases or anything like that. Pretty much, this movie saved it from going on that route, while also crashing into the straight to DVD release thing too. So it was kind of in the middle of a lukewarm situation. It's like it's trying to be something that it's not, while also trying to wind up being in that straight to DVD $5 bin at Walmart that we would actually go ahead and get a Tokyo Drift movie versus seeing something that's in the theater. But for me, the open scene actually was okay for me. It worked. But it also felt kind of forced in a sense because of the fact that he's actually trying to be like Dominic Toretto rather than just being Sean. Now, if they just winded up letting him just be Sean and not trying to mimic the stuff from Vin Diesel's character, I think that it could have worked and everything in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, I do appreciate that this movie exists because it got us Justin Lin, and I appreciate the movie because of how they tied it together to Fast 6 and how it went right back to Tokyo. Fast 6 kind of helped save this movie in a sense. Not much for me, but just how they brought it together and how this movie just seems like it's just going to be, it's just a filler movie. It's this there. It exists. It's got Han in it, so we'll get you fast that. But how they tie it together, I like that. But it's not going to help me enjoy this movie. I mean, because you still got to deal with the crap before that one sequence. Because the movie's still not good. I mean, I like the first one much better than this one. And wasn't really a huge fan of the first one, but there's aspects I liked of it. There's more aspects I liked of that one than I did this one. And then again, I'll mention the 2, maybe 3 positives of this movie. That's it. But no, that's what I mean. I appreciate it, but appreciation and liking a movie, 2 separate things. But we'll get into how it ties in the Fast Six in a bit.
Yeah, I here's the thing. I definitely appreciate this movie for what it is, but it doesn't do the job that it needs to do on a solid level, if you think about it. As a matter of fact, we wind up seeing this whole entire generic thing pretty much where basically the mother and father, of course, is divorced. Then he winds up going over to Tokyo. We already have a feeling that his father's not going to show up anyways. And guess what? He doesn't show up. He goes over to his place and be like, well, why didn't you show up? He goes, oh, I had to work. I had something that came up and everything. But it's very generic. It's very paint by the numbers kind of thing when you look at a film that does this every single time. Because we already are dealing with a kid that is dealing with his own issues, his own struggles. So there has to be something there. It has to be a complexity with the parent or something like that, especially with the mother, though, at the very beginning.
Yeah. And I think the father said he was blaming the time difference in China for, oh, I'm a day ahead of you. I'm sorry. Today is the 7th. Well, sorry. I saw you.
And his father lived there, has been living there forever. And I forgot about the time difference. I didn't mean to. Really, douche? Really, Father Douche? That's what I'm calling him, Father Douche.
There's too much, I mean, so I'm surprised there's not a meme from this because there's like, oh, family takes care of family. Like this one, family obviously didn't care about the son. The mom sent him to Tokyo so he doesn't go to jail, and the dad doesn't care about him. Like, really, you call this family? Come on. Like, this was like, it's like they forced the whole family. Like, the dad was like, he was barely in the movie. Why the heck did you have him in this? It was definitely like totally unneeded, and it added like, and it led to a longer time runtime. This movie could have been a lot shorter if it didn't have the whole family issues.
To be honest with you, this is actually the shortest out of the Fast and the Furious franchise, though, in a sense, because it's an hour and 40. So the other movies have been 2.5 hours long. But I do agree with you on this, is the fact that there's no parents in this. And this is the same thing that I said about Fear Street. There's no parents in this Fear Street world. There's no parents in this Tokyo Drift world. Except for Sean's dad, who just like happens to come in whenever Sean is doing douchebag stuff, where he's about to go get kicked out of school. You know? And... you know, I still say that Sean's dad is like Father Douche. He's been there for a long time in Tokyo. You mean to tell me that you don't know the time difference between when your son was going to be going into the airport and arriving in Tokyo? Okay. Like, I believe that. And then also, too, my other favorite thing, and I noticed this in the background. Remember, I messaged you about it. When the mother goes, so, is it okay if I smoke in this interrogation room? Yeah, it's perfectly fine. It's not illegal. And the big background, it just zooms in, there's a no smoking sign. So the cops are going to go ahead and pretty much ruin their whole entire interrogation room, let it smell like cigarettes and everything after it has a no smoking sign. But still, that's like a little small nitpicky thing. I just had to talk about how much of a blooper that was. But you know, I do like the fact that we actually have the kid that drove the Hulk car. I liked him. I liked Han. I like all those characters from that side. Once we get into Tokyo and stuff like that, they don't feel as wooden as his father does. You actually care about those characters and where they're going to go with it. Now, as for the villain, we already saw this with the very first Fast and the Furious movie, where Dom slept with this guy's sister, and now we're dealing with kind of the same situation. If you think about it, this is like a prequel story to Dom's life, where he winds up, instead of him being over in Los Angeles and everything, he's in Tokyo getting ready to sleep with the villain's girlfriend and everything, if you think about it. But
pretty much. Yeah, I mean, everybody, the script was bad for this. The acting was bad. So it's just... like, I mean, of course, like, I mean, I didn't pick up on that, but now you mention it, I'm like, oh my God, they try to exactly do it because they're really trying to make Sean the new Dominic Toretto. And it's like, You don't need to. Dominic Toretto still exists in this world because you got Han in this, and yet the fact you had Dom show up at the end of the movie, like there is no need to force this persona onto one guy, and it really hurts the movie because I kept looking at him, I kept seeing Dom, and it's like Dominic Toretto would have drifted better. Dominic Toretto knows how to drive a car. Yeah, he's a kid, but still, I'm pretty sure Dom in a teen obviously knew how to drive a car because that's how he beat his brother. Spoilers for Fast 9, if anybody's wondering about all of this, but still, I mean, but it just, I mean, they're trying too hard for this. They're trying to make it, oh, we're part of the Fast and Furious, but we're not, but then again, we are. It's like going back and forth. I mean, make up your mind already. Like, the fact, obviously, you knew this movie was bad when you had Dom show up at the end of the movie, show up and racing
to save the franchise,
to come in and save it, so he can take over and say in studios like, yeah, we effed up. And I mean, this is definitely like, and then this is like, I mean, I feel bad for Justin Lin because this is the first one he did in this franchise was this movie, and it's not great, but luckily he stuck with it, and then he got us. I mean, the quality does get better. I mean, you might think you're thinking about, wait a minute, you're talking about Tokyo Drift because even though it's the third movie released theatrically, it is. But we've done other movies that Justin Lin did that are 10 times better than this. Fast 5 and Fast 6 were better than this. So, definitely. And it's just, even the fourth one was a lot better than this because you actually got the original characters back and you got people that are likable and not dealing with parent issues. It's because it's family issues, not parent issues. But no, it's just like they're trying too hard. And then, but yeah, now I think of it. Oh my God, this is like a complete. This is like a reboot of the very first Fast and the Furious movie. It's just in Tokyo. It's the same storyline, just in Tokyo.
So then we wind up seeing him in school. We find Sean in school. He doesn't fit in at all. He's actually having to go to this private school in Japan. He sticks out like a sore thumb. Not only that, but you know, he's not really comprehending what any of the teachers are saying. He's like a fish out of water and everything, if you think about it, because he's not in his normal habitat into the United States or anything like that. He's actually in a new place, a new country where he doesn't understand, where he has to try to adapt and try to learn their language and try to understand where they are coming from, because their ways of doing things is totally different than our ways of doing things in America and stuff like that too. So he's having to learn another culture while also trying to re-find himself again in this new environment and stuff like that. Man, matter of fact, me saying that makes it sound a little bit better, but you know, it's all about delivery. It's still not that great, but
the one part I like, one of the positives I liked the idea of the drift. I thought that, I think that was pretty cool. Was it shot well? Yes and no. There are aspects of the drift that were shot well. There are others that just look complete dog shit. I mean, it's very inconsistent. Like, I like the idea of the drift because we haven't seen this before, and being able to drift in muscle cars is actually kind of cool if they know how to do it right. Because you figure the bigger the car, the less likely it's to drift. That's not the case. I mean, I like that aspect of it. I just didn't like, it was very inconsistent.
This is the delivery of it, pretty much.
Exactly.
I gotcha. And also, too, like I said, at this point, though, Twinkie's 2005 Volkswagen Touran, Sean has confrontation with Takashi, known as Drift King, DK, who drives a 2003 Nissan 350Z over Sean, talking to Takashi's girlfriend. This is where it actually gets into the whole Dominic thing that I was telling you about. Neela, who is one of Sean's classmates, although barred from driving, Sean decides to race Takashi, who has ties to the Yakuza, and a 2001 Nissan Silva S15 Spec S, loaned by Han. But he loses his first race with Takashi due to the unfamiliarity of the drifting. And that's what I mean by him having to rediscover who he is and having to adapt. Because our way of actually racing in street racing is different than what Tokyo does. Yeah, Tokyo has all these nice cars and everything, but they drift. They don't do actual street racing per se. They have to drift in order to get into a certain position in order to win the race and everything. But here's the thing. Whenever he ends up confronting Takashi's girlfriend Neela and everything, he doesn't know that she has a boyfriend or anything like that. And then all of a sudden Takashi just comes over there and everything, and he doesn't like him at all. And then, at this point, that's when we wind up seeing his friend come over there and save him, which, of course, is, like I said, Twinkie comes over there and saves him. Thank God, or else he would have actually died, because he's actually a member of the Yakuza, his uncle is, and everything. And, and pretty much he winds up drifting. He winds up crashing into the walls, crashes into everything he can find, pretty much. I liked how he said, well, what does DK stand for? Donkey Kong? But was also kind of like a lame joke in a sense, because it was corny writing in a sense. But I like how Han is just like really smooth, because he's even smooth in the other Fast and the Furious movies. I feel like with his character, you know what you're going to get when it comes down to Han.
Yeah.
Because I like how all these girls are going with Takashi. Then you see Twinkie going down with all these other girls in the elevator. Then here comes Han eating his chips. And just goes down there. Right. Just total chill, smooth. He has some great swagger with him. I'm going to tell you that.
And we don't know how much time has passed since Fast 6, since he lost Giselle. And now he's all by himself in Tokyo, and obviously it must have been a long length of time, because obviously there, and then all the girls are all about Han, and Han's still kissing them. It's like, you had Giselle, what are you doing? This just make this so much funnier now, watching Fast 6 and then watching this one. I was like, man, Giselle would be so disappointed in you. Like, she would not want you to sleep around or whatever. But it's like,
I died for this.
Yeah, pretty much. And then we see Sean trying to hit on the girl. He's turned into Peter Quill. He's thinking of his dick instead of his head, because it almost got him killed. And it's just like, and it's this. The jokes just seem corny. I mean, it's just not good. I mean, I was watching and I was, like I said, sure, that drift. I said the positives about the drift, but there was a lot of negatives with it too, because it was inconsistent. But it's just, this movie's not good. For me, it might be your favorite one, and if it's your favorite, let us know in the chat below. But for us, for me personally, this was not good. I mean, I was bored of it for the whole time. I mean, we'll begin to some more positives later on, but it was just really, really corny. Like the script writing was all over the place. The dialogue was that they tried to be exactly like the Fast and the Furious, and since you brought up the kind of the resemblance between Dom sleeping with the guy's sister, now he hates him. We're about to have some family issues too, regarding the UK, the Takashi, and I just remembered it now. I'm like, oh my god, we are so dead on that. This is exactly like the very first one about the family members, and we'll get into that later in a little bit. But I just figured that out now. I'm like, oh my god, I just watched exactly the same movie before, just in Tokyo.
Yep, trying to go for the serious tones, trying to do everything exactly like that, so that they can actually reboot it and have this other kid be the frontline center rather than Vin Diesel. And it just doesn't work. It just falls flat with the dialogue, the cheesiness of it, like you mentioned. Also, too, the drifting for me, in certain aspects, it worked, especially in the garage sequences. The garage stuff works because I can see everything. When you get into the mountain part where he's racing Takashi and everything with the winner of that race, if the winner winds up winning, they stay in Tokyo. If the winner winds up losing, they have to leave Tokyo. But you don't see everything because how dark that scene is. You don't see everything. That's one of the things that I really have to say that's inconsistent with it, is the fact that I want to see more drifting, and I want to see how close the car came to actually drifting whenever it was actually drifting off the cliff a little bit. Yes, we saw that a little bit whenever we see Takashi trying to knock him off the cliff, but we don't see enough of that in the drifting part. And it made it look like it was a little too easy to actually drift a little bit, even though he actually got the wing of it.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it just look like it's a cartoon rather than something that is dangerous.
Yeah. The drifting gets better in the fifth movie. I think in the fifth movie, when they're doing with the safe, I think they were drifting in that. It's hard to tell. But definitely that race in Fast 6 when Dom versus Letty at that street race, and they're both in muscle cars, they were drifting. And that was cool looking. Like, it wasn't as flashy as Tokyo with the lights underneath when it's flat. That, or the zoom in shot to see how close they got to the to the parking walls. Like, they don't show that. They didn't need to, because you got two professional drivers and Dom and Letty, and they're both muscle cars and they're drifting. I mean, the drifting in that, just comparing it to, again, improves as the movies progress. But this one was, like I said, like you said, John, that I mean, I'll get into the final sequence. I agree. It was very hard to see what was going on. It was like, they had dark cars to begin with. Dark cars, dark setting. How the heck are we going to see what's going on?
Exactly. That's one of the little nitpicky things I had about that final scene. Because I wanted to see everything. Because in the garage, we saw everything. We saw how far the car was actually going to hit that wall. We saw the skin of its teeth when Takashi is going through the drifting and everything. And that's what I liked. I liked the slow motion and the angles of the drift itself. And Takashi's actually going near the wall and like, ooh, is he going to crash into it or not? How close is he actually there? And we don't see that in that end scene or anything like that. So that's why that didn't work for me. But as far as Han goes and stuff like that, you know, I was wondering the same thing, to be honest with you. I mean, how much time has passed since the passing of Giselle and everything? And then also, too, I was also thinking, okay, you're trying to fix a hole inside of you. So because you're trying to fix a hole, you're trying to go ahead and pile it in with other stuff. Because that's the only way for you to move on from the hurt that you feel over somebody. So you're going to try and fill it in with whatever you can find. So, hey, how you doing? You know, but,
crazy.
And so, you know, he winds up, these girls are all over him and everything and stuff like that. But you can also tell maybe a little bit he does enjoy it, but at the same time, there just seems something about Han that, because we actually knew him from other films, there's just something in his eyes that shows that he's in some kind of pain. I don't know if it's the pain because he's in this movie, but it is some kind of pain. But it just shows on the pain level that he's in because of the fact that he might have lost Giselle. That's just me, because I know the character and everything and the events that happened in the last movie. But that's just the way I looked at it and from that angle. But then after that winds up happening, you know, then after that, the next day, he goes over to Han and he goes, if you knew that I was going to wreck your car, then why did you let me drive it? Because I wanted to see what would happen. And then he goes, and his car's also fixed up, though. At that point, like, if you haven't seen the Fast Five, you'd be wondering, okay, how in the heck did he manage to fix up his car with no money and everything when this guy just wrecked the whole entire car and made it pretty much totaled? And that's the first thought that I came to my mind whenever I first saw this in 2006. Now that I saw Fast Five before in theaters and stuff like that, it makes sense. But, you know, at that time, it just didn't make sense. It didn't click with me. But I really like that aspect where Han is now being like Dominic Toretto now, in a sense, because he's actually looking at him, because now the roles are actually reversed. Now you have Sean acting like Paul Walker. Then you have Han acting like Vin Diesel saying, oh, you owe me a car, when his car's already fixed up. This doesn't make sense.
I don't know if, like, I mean, obviously Han had different cars, because you didn't see that car that Sean destroyed. You didn't see that till the very end after the whole police seizure of the cars, because they had to rebuild that car. I think it was a different car, to be honest. I think it was like Han has so many cars, so it's hard to tell. But I remember specifically that one car wasn't seen again until that before the final race, while they're rebuilding it after Han died. But
okay, because it looked like it was the same car, but
I mean, he has like the
know.
same color scheme. It's not orange, so it's hard to tell. Every car for him looks the same unless it's orange. Once it's the orange car, then you know it's Han. Everything else looks the same. But I mean, I get yeah.
My question is this for you. Now, when Han goes ahead and picks him up from the high school and everything to try and pay back his debt for the car that he destroyed and stuff like that, and him having to work for the Yakuza and also earn money to pay for the damages, did that work for you or did that not work for you? To me, it felt kind of forced, to be honest with you.
This is all over the place. Like, I was like, what am I watching? This is not a Fast and the Furious movie. This is like some other movie. It might be another like Justin Lin like movie, but it's like Han knew the guy was gonna get, like, the big fat guy was gonna chuck Sean out of the tape. He just wanted to, like, don't leave town. Like, it really seemed forced, and it really didn't seem very Han-like to work with the Yakuzas while stealing money from them at the same time, because this doesn't really. Sure, it worked when Han was with his team and his friends and his family, but him working with these complete strangers and he's like trying to get on their good and then get money. I agree. It just seemed out of place, and it just, like, I was like, what am I watching? I'm already bored enough already. This is just adding more to my boredom. Like, I mean, get on with it already. Like that this was like too much filler, and it didn't really. It messed up. It didn't really work out. I mean, they really tried to do something like, all right, crap. Sean's not a cop undercover trying to get in with Dom and his family. Let's have Han work for the Yakuzas because we need that Yakuza element, and then we'll have Sean try to get funnel money to them because we don't have that whole twist of he works with the FBI. You don't have that twist, so they need to come up with something, because this is literally, the more you think about it, this is exactly a somewhat of shot by shot to a degree complete reboot of the Fast and the Furious. That's literally where they're going. They just had to tweak a few things, but yeah, I agree. I felt that this felt forced. It felt overly long, and just like, what are we doing? Seriously, what are we doing?
And another thing, though, too, is you were right about the car. It was a 97 Mazda RX-7 that that Han had whenever he picked up Sean.
Yeah.
So I just want to let you know you were right about that, because it looks similar in some aspects. Yeah. I just didn't notice because of the color schemes, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I always loved the color schemes of Han's car, though. Han's car just looks awesome.
The orange car, I think the orange car, and I think they kind of subtly mentioned it in the Fast and Furious 6 when Dom's talking about, what do you think of this one, this orange colored car? I think it might have been the same one that was the same one that he drives later on in this movie, the one that the iconic explosion sequence. I think it's the exact same car, yet they didn't show it on screen in Fast 6. I just love the constant nods that Justin Lin keeps making within Fast 6 to this movie, just to kind of get people to go back to rewatching it. I think he was trying to help this movie, but I'm sorry, Justin Lin. There's only so much you can do. There's really only so much you can do. It's just, this is not a great movie. But I mean, you're trying to nod us to get back into it. And sure, I'm glad I watched this in entirety, but I kind of want my time back because I'm bored. I was bored. I knew I was watching a movie. I wasn't there's that, we'll get into more, pretty soon we're getting into some of my favorite aspect of this movie. But I mean, it's just, I'm sorry I keep nailing the hammer on nailing the nail into the wall, but I'm saying it like it is. But that's me personally. But yeah, I totally agree. But I wasn't trying to be right. I was just saying all the cars look the same unless it's orange.
No, because here's the thing. I was actually curious myself, so I was just wondering what it was, and that's what it was. But then, of course, you have Sean, who's actually practicing on a 2006 Mitsubishi Evo, gaining respect after defeating DK's right-hand man, Marmin. This feels like an anime movie, to be honest with you, featuring Fast and the Furious, the way the characters are named. Memento, I think that's how you say his name. I have that in my notes. Sean soon asks Neela out on a date and learns that after her mother died, she moved with Takashi's grandmother, which resulted in the relationship. And enraged, Takashi beats Sean up the next day, telling him to stay away from Neela. Neela subsequently leaves Takashi and moves in with Sean in Han. SNH. So, but here's the thing. I remember clearly when Han said, "You need to stay away from her. You're going to be causing more problems than anything." And then here she comes scrolling up to the garage and everything.
And you may be wondering, where's the dad in all this? Oh yeah, that's right. Sean left it. Like Sean, this various times, Sean never came home, and then he ends up staying in Han's garage. Like, hey, Twinkie, get him a bunk. Like,
oh yeah. And then also too, when his father goes ahead, and finally his father comes home from God knows where, and just happens to see his clothes folded, and his little Harry Potter small closet space of a bedroom, and he sees his bed empty, and his bed is actually made and folded and everything. I'm sorry, if that was my parents, they'd be calling the cops to find out where I'm at. It's like, look, Dad, it's been real, it's been fun, it has been really fun, but guess what, guys? Deuces, I'm out. I'm gonna move in with my buddy Han. We're gonna go do some stuff with the Yakuza. I might attend school sometimes, but not all the time. I know I'm a minor, Dad, but it's all good though, because I'm gonna be making at least $5,000 or more. And and also too, I have to split that with my friend Han. So therefore, he's just using me as leverage at this point because I owe him a car that I destroyed. Which, oops, I wasn't supposed to have the car in the first place because I got suspended from school.
Yeah.
So,
this is like a really, really messed up version of Sean's a really messed up version of Harry Potter, because Harry Potter pretty much
at least he got into the wizard school.
At least he had a room. Sean didn't even have a room. I mean, it's just it's like, yeah, you would call the cops, but Sean just got up and left. Harry didn't have that option. So I don't know. It's just, I'm like, wow, okay, I'm so busy doing my work, doing job, and that we didn't even find out what happened at school. I think he probably dropped out. Again, I don't know. They mentioned he went to school a couple times. I'm like, man, a teen making that much money just being a dropout. What kind of success with you guys? And and then you end up working for Toretto in the end with your buddies. Not even have to go to school or whatever. I'm like, what's going on? It's like, it's just, but yeah, that's the dad just sees him, he's gone. Okay.
I actually counted how many times he went to school because oh my god, because he went to school 3 or 4 times in this movie, and that was it. If you count the time when they were almost on the fight on top of the roof of the school, if that counts as going to school. And whenever he has to hand the guy his MP3 player, Takashi's MP3 player, and then next thing you know, Twinkie's mad at him and everything else.
Was that counting the times and when he went to school in the States? That one time he went to school in the U.S. Is that
no? I just counted Tokyo.
Oh, so we're going about 5 times right now. You can count on one single hand how many times he went to school in this movie. Because there's the first thing: if you could drive a fast car, you can drift. You don't need school. That's very much what this movie.
Because you got family.
Well, in this case, he doesn't have family. He's got his friends. But he doesn't have his parents.
No. But he's got Han, and he's got a garage, and he's got a Yakuza girlfriend, Nina. Yeah. So he's got a little something working out. He's got at least a couple of K in his bank account,
He had Han. In terms of this movie.
That sounds like a bad Fast and the Furious Hallmark card.
Pretty much. That's exactly what this is. It's a really bad Hallmark. No, a Hallmark movie. Except with all the kissing and the loving.
Oh my god.
It's just, yeah. This is, yeah. At least this is better than Space Jam 2.
You know what? We're not going to go scene by scene because, seriously, dude, this is not... This is just comical at this moment, though, to be honest.
Well,
this is just comical. This
Yeah.
is just comical at this moment, to be honest with you, dude.
Yeah, like we can keep going on. Like, I mean, let's get to the next part, which I think is probably a better part. It was shot well. This is the whole chase sequence where they like the Yakuza fight. Well, the uncle shows up. Oh, guess what? We need to really like emphasize the part about the whole like Yakuza family issues about how your uncle resents you and like how you bring dishonor to his bring dishonor to the family. Like in let me guess. Oh yeah, that's right. The Fast and the Furious #1, where oh yeah, that's right. The the main Yakuza guy that blamed Dom for sleeping with his sister. He has family troubles, and the family's resenting him when he gets arrested. But guess what? This movie we got to do the same thing. We got to bring the uncle in here and tell him that your buddy Han's scamming you for money because you're bringing dishonor to this family. Because we need to make this a Fast and the Furious reboot. So we're going to have the same elements that we thought worked the first one. You got to do it again. And yeah, so the uncle tells him, oh yeah, that's right. You're scheming. So they show up again. And poor Han, he's getting sucker punched. Well, first he got sucker punched in the face. Then Sean's taking the beating. And then this leads us to the whole sequence in the garage where he's looking for Neela. And Han sucker punches Takashi. And then you have this chase sequence where you see Han's driving that orangey, silvery kind of colored car, and then he had Neela and Sean in the other car, and I think somebody else that. So they're getting chased. Man, this sequence was shot so bad. It was too much quick cuts. Boom, 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 boom. Like we got to go here. We got to do Michael Bay style. Boom, 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 boom. Here. See this guy in this car. Let's go to the next person in the car. See a car crash. Boom, boom, boom. It's like it happened. Like I was like, what the hell am I watching? This is too quick cutty. It makes the sequence very disorienting to watch, and it really ruined that whole chase sequence because there's aspects of it were good, but there was too many damn quick cuts, and it was really annoying.
It was actually that shaky cam stuff to make us feel like that there's something going on when there isn't something going on. Snake eyes. But you know,
my studio.
Everything. I'll get to that when we talk about Snake Eyes, if we talk about Snake Eyes. But anyways, we will. But anyways, back to Tokyo Drift. Now, here's the thing: when you do shaky cam, you want to have shaky cam to actually feel some type of suspense and stuff like that, because they want you to feel like you're there. You don't need to have shaky cam to make you feel like you're there. I do not like shaky cam. I don't like found footage movies. I don't like any of that stuff. I want to see the action that's surrounded around me. I don't need to see shaky cam. I can feel the adrenaline. I can feel the excitement. I can feel all that stuff without the shaky cam. I can do without that. And then, you know, another thing too is when, with his uncle and everything, whenever he finds out the uncle was actually the smart one to find out that Han's been stealing from him that whole time, from Takashi, the whole entire time. And that's how dumb Takashi is, because he's only a 16, 17-year-old high schooler who doesn't know any better. And you're getting him to do your books? Come on. You're supposed to be a gangster. I understand that if you're going to hire 16-year-old kids, they don't do that much time in prison, then they'll let out and everything else. And they're not tried as an adult, supposedly. So therefore, they can go on and continue to do drug business, go ahead and do different things. But it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't flow well. And then even when Sean goes in there, like Clint Eastwood, and goes in there after Han dies. And okay, so let's talk about Han for a minute whenever he does die. It was the most impactful, hurtful thing that I've seen in a Fast and the Furious movie. And it hurt me to see Han die, even in 2006, without the continuity of all the other films. And I know that I ranted about this in Fast 9. But after seeing this, because it's been so many years since I've seen this Fast and the Furious movie, now I can actually appreciate a little bit of what Fast 9 did on that level, where he's working for Mr. Nobody. And to where he can get out of that lifestyle of being haunted by the Yakuza. Because I forgot about the Yakuza actually being in this thing. and how dangerous the Yakuza actually is.
Mhm.
So I can actually have some appreciation now. Yes, I have a right to change my mind because of certain events that happens in certain movies. I'm allowed to do that. I'm allowed to own up to the fact I was wrong about something because I forgot about something in a certain movie that I haven't seen in X amount of time and everything. So yes, I'm allowed to change my mind. So I can appreciate Fast 9 for explaining that because it does make sense now with the continuity into that.
Yeah.
So, you know.
It definitely explains the whole, like, him skimming the Yakuza. Because I'm pretty sure, obviously, Mr. Nobody told him to do that because he was also maybe he's trying to skim the money because that little girl he was trying to protect, that she never appears in this movie, but mentioned in Fast 9, and that actually kind of it makes it more sense of him trying to get out. So I'm pretty sure he had people tell him, and that's what he's trying to play it off. And this one, we get Sucker Punch, he's playing it off. But yeah, and it makes a lot more sense now. It just adds more continuity to Han's death. But that car, I mean, that sequence is still intense. That's the one positive of this movie was that sequence of the car. And then it just adds so much more that it actually goes back to, again, Fast 6 and how we set up Fast 7. Jason Statham was the guy that ran into him, which I thought was the best casting they've done since Dwayne Johnson, who, if anybody hasn't heard already, Dwayne Johnson's kind of not coming back for the next two. And I think as long as
he's not in the family.
No. He won't be in, like, he's in with his own family. I'm pretty sure when there's a Hobbs and Shaw movie sequel that they're going to try to do, he'll be back for that because Vin Diesel's not involved or he's not in it. But so that, which is a bummer, but it's fine. I mean, we're almost 2 movies in. I mean, they can only have The Rock do so much, and to have him kind of branch off and do his own little own thing. Hopefully, bring Ryan Reynolds back for Hobbs and Shaw too. Like, I can, and I'm glad they brought back Jason Statham though. I'm glad they brought him back for the sequels because I'm interested how this is going to work out. But just to have, because we mentioned in our before we started Fast 6 that there was a post credit scene. Well, that post credit scene was this chase sequence, and it went behind the driver of the car, which was Jason Statham. Like, Dominic Toretto, you don't know me, you're about to. That has made that scene so cool, and like I said, I mean, I liked how they in Fast 9 in our review, I liked how they did this, how they brought Han back, and not for the sake of bringing him back, for the sake of bringing him back. It made sense with the story, and this one enhanced that. And to go back to the whole shaky cam, there was a movie I watched in 2016. It's not shaky cam because it's filmed directly in first person. I think it's with a GoPro. It's called Hardcore Henry. Sure, it's disorienting, but he's wearing a GoPro and they're filming it with the GoPro, but it's shot in the first person perspective, kind of like the video game. I thought it was cool. I saw this in the theaters. If you want a first ever first person shooter full length movie, you're getting it with Hardcore Henry, and it is awesome. Like, the GoPro, yeah, kind of makes you look kind of like motion sickness a little bit, but they tried. I mean, they really did. And I thought it worked really well for what the purpose of the movie, because some of the sequences were just awesome, and it's shot per first person, so it looks shaky, but it's only because he's running, and you're seeing the GoPro running with him, so it's not really shaky cam. Shaky cam is kind of annoying if it's like you see the person's on the screen, you see their faces, and then it's shaky for the sake of being shaky. But there's, I mean, you have a GoPro and it's kind of shaky, it didn't really, like, that was a good use of the shaky cam, but it was not really shaky cam as a GoPro. But if you really want a good first person shooter movie, Hardcore Henry's there. But we go back to Tokyo. Yeah, now we got to continue talking for shit before we go to the good stuff. But yeah, I like how they, like, the Han death. I mean, yeah, he died supposedly, but I mean, it's still an intense, like, chase, and especially now we know Jason Statham was the one that did it. Don't worry, viewers. Once we get past this one, we're gonna get back to the good ones, especially if we're getting back to the quote Moneyball. We're under 50 feet of crap right now with Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. We're gonna get back up to really good ones with Furious 7 next, but we just gotta chuggle on for the rest of this review, and then we'll get to some good stuff. But yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
But okay, so like I said before, Sean shows up with the money that Han had and gives it, and he's just gonna go in there like wild herb and give his uncle the money. And even Twinkie says, "Are you crazy? You can't just go into the Yakuza and act like you own the place." And so he goes on ahead. He does it. He goes in the place, and he talks to the uncle, and he doesn't trust his nephew anymore because of the fact that Han's been stealing money from them for so long, and also embarrassed him. And also, too, Sean also embarrassed his family, though, too. So they decided to go ahead and do a Dominic and basically a John Cena kind of thing. Like if I win, I stay in Tokyo. If you lose, the loser has to go ahead and get out of town. And they're not copying off of at this point. They're not actually copying off of Fast 9 or anything like that because this movie came out way before then. So I can't say that.
No.
But and then all of a sudden the uncle's like, okay,
yeah,
we'll do it. And
So this one was definitely, I'm surprised Sean didn't go up and say, "Hey, if I stay here, like I'm surprised Neela stays with me. She's family." Like I'm surprised he didn't say the whole family line with that one. But it's like, sure, it's not copying Fast 9. It's copying the first movie because you get the whole family issue. You get the whole like parents issues. Like, oh, we don't trust you. Like, yeah, I'm about to disown. I'm disowning my grandson. Like you bring dishonor to this family. Yeah, this is like him walking in, and that it's exactly like they not shot from shot, but very, very, very 99.9% similar to the very first Fast and the Furious. But yeah, it's like, okay, whoever wins stays in Tokyo, but it's just kind of ironic because the Twinkie, Sean, and Earl. None of them end up staying in Tokyo anyway because they show up in Fast 9 and they're definitely not in Tokyo. They're in some sort of military base. So no one really stays in Tokyo. It's not Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happens in Tokyo, you get the fuck out of Tokyo. That's pretty much what happens. There's my 1F-bomb for it. There we go.
Yep. So at this point after that, they wind up going on top of this mountain. Like we mentioned the mountain a little bit and everything too, where basically you have two cars that are black. You can't really see anything at night. I understand what they're trying to go for, like this huge drift race up top of the mountain, going all the way down it, like a Japanese kind of stylist kind of thing, to make it more enchanting and everything. Because every single Japanese film has a moonlight over a mountain. So I'm guessing that they're trying to capture kind of some kind of essence over that. And so the scenes are very dark. I can't see what's going on in this with the drifting. I don't have any sense of danger other than when Sean winds up crashing into where Kakashi winds up crashing into him, and he kind of slides a little bit off the cliff a little bit. Other than that, though, I didn't see anything. To be honest with you, it was way too dark with that scene. Those cars should have been a lot more lighter to where I could see everything, or use make it not in nighttime, maybe make it during the daytime, evening hour or something like that. But still, that scene just didn't work for me as much as I hoped it would work, because I was like, ooh, okay, a drift race up in the mountain. That sounds pretty cool. But how are they going to deliver? And the deliver of it is not that great. On paper, it sounds wonderful, but whenever you look at the whole entire context, no, not so much. And
right, sorry, go ahead.
No, go on ahead.
Okay. No, I agree. It didn't look. It looked hard to see, especially that crash when Takashi crashes a car, and he's swerving that. Are you sure you swerved past it, or did you just purse a shadow? Because that's what it looked like. It was like it blended in too much. You like, how the heck are you able to see where the car is coming from that's about to crash on you, and you swerve out and you survive? If it was later, sure, yeah, it would have been cool looking, but it wasn't. It was too dark, so you could barely see who's who. You just kept seeing, the faces in the car. If they had, you should have had like a brighter colored car for somebody so we could see what the heck is going on, because It was not shot well. Whoever thought, oh, okay, perfect idea. Yes, let me think. Okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this race on the mountains in the dark. And
Watch.
get this.
Hold
Here's
on.
plot twist. Both cars have dark colors too. So and it's gonna be perfect. Dude, you need to get fired. Seriously. That was the dumbest decision you decided to do.
Like, coming soon to a theater near you. Watch Tokyo Drift as they drift. And they drift. And they do more drifting. And it's too dark because the cars are dark. But that's okay. Because we're counting on Sean. Sean is going to be the next Vin Diesel. And then Sean's going to say, we are family. So
we're going to kill off your second favorite favorite character, Han. What? You're killing off Han? How dare you? But it's okay.
How dare you?
We'll explain later on how he's still alive.
Coming soon to a theater near you.
Coming soon to your Walmart $5 bin. That's still going to be filled with nothing with these movies because this is absolute shit.
Because this is absolute shit. And it's in your $5 bin right now, waiting for someone to pick up.
There's more. like pretty much like that. It was like this whole sequence about there's more. This is like if anybody's seen Rick and Morty, one of the whole iconic sequences from Rick and Morty was the interdimensional cable episode. It was two brothers, and they pretty much tell you what happens in Two Brothers, and they just kept going on and on and on. That's what the guys should do. Rick and Morty guys should do with this for Tokyo Drift. There's a guy named Sean, and yeah, he's gonna have a team. We can't call him family yet because he's not dumb. Wait, is he? Yes, he is. No, he's not. He's not dumb. But we need to.
What movie am I watching? Because I don't know what I'm watching. But
what the heck? Right. Starring in Tokyo Drift. WTF? Why was this movie even made? Oh, right. I know now, and this is the title. Why was this movie even made? I know why. To go full circle with not only Fast and Furious 6, but when we get to the 9th Fast and Furious movie. What do you mean there's going to be 9 movies? Because there is. And that's the one, that's the whole length of the title. It's all one, the whole plot of the movie is the title of this movie.
But, then after that winds up happening, we already know Sean's going to win. He becomes the new Drift King. And then, of course, he has Twinkie and the other crew members. And then, of course, who do we have in the driver's seat? Dominic Toretto.
He says, "Hey, man, this new guy. He wants to challenge the Drift King. Okay, how does Dom know who Sean is, and how does he know he's the new Drift King? Because we don't know that. He's just there. It doesn't make sense until maybe Fury 7 where he travels to Tokyo because that's where he knew Han was. That makes it more sense. But in terms of
but at that moment you don't care because you're just psyched up to see Vin Diesel again. Yeah, because that's when Vin Diesel was actually on the hype of his career at that time.
Yeah,
because he was actually doing The Pacifier. He was doing Disney movies, and then he came back because his whole entire career was in the toilet, and then he came back to doing into the Fast and Furious movies, and then doing, of course, Riddick and all these other films.
Yeah. But yeah, he's like, hey, and the guy's like, nah, Twinkie, I don't really feel like Jason. He knew Han, and then Sean's eyes lit up. Like, it's like, what? I thought we only knew Han. This guy knows Han? Okay. And he goes, and he's talking about Han was a part of my family. Because Dom had to drop that family line in the third Tokyo. Han was family, and then he's talking, and then the two of them race. And do we know who wins? No, not yet. Nope. You'll find out in Furious 7, because it shows him. Man, I didn't know muscle can drift like that. Well, because he's Dom, and his car is his family.
Wait, that line doesn't even make sense because he was drifting in a muscle car.
Yeah, and that was in Furious 7.
But Sean was also drifting in a muscle car in Tokyo Drift down the hill. That was a muscle car. Contradictory.
I don't know. We're asking too many questions for this, but it's just he goes. Oh, I mean, I forgot the line.
Continuity.
Whatever. We'll get to a better movie in Fury 7 where this kind of makes sense, but does it? No. But no. And then the two of them race. Let me see what you got, Drift King. And then that's how the movie ends.
Yep.
And there's no post-credit scene. Thank God.
Nope. But yeah, I didn't enjoy this too much. I much rather go ahead and go to the dentist and get a tooth pulled than watch this movie again.
That's harsh. I mean, what would you rather have? Watch this movie or watch Space Jam 2?
I hate you. Devil's advocate.
This is an easy one for me.
I'll watch this one.
Easily, this one. Because we get to see we get to see it kind of, because this one actually, there's parts of it that one part that I liked was sorry, Han, the part where you get hit by the car and you supposedly blow up, and it was all because it was Jason F. and Statham. See,
yep.
I didn't drop the F word in that one. I just used the F word because it's okay. But yeah, because hey, that should be Jason's nickname because he's a badass.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up. I mean, I love Jason Statham. He's great. That's why I want him joining the cast as Shaw's brother. This was perfect casting. But
yeah, definitely.
And we'll get to more info on him when we cover Furious 7. And he's a great villain in Furious 7. Good God. I think he kills like 50 guys in the first 5 minutes of that movie.
That was totally cool. That opening sequence.
Ooh, oh man,
that's awesome.
I mean, and then you don't even see him beat up everybody. You just see the aftermath of him kicking some ass. That is a way to start off a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Him asking a person, here, pull a grenade, here, hold this. Push him and walk out while part of the entrance explodes. Because that's
the hospital.
That's the thing.
Right.
A hospital, yeah. Because that's what cool guys do. Cool guys don't look at explosions.
Anyways, guys, I hope that you guys enjoyed our Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift review. We are going to be doing another Fast and the Furious review probably on next Friday, because I'm going to call this like Fast Friday and everything, because it actually works out really well.
Yeah.
So, we're going to be doing that at the same time, 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific Time.
We got 3 more movies left.
Yep.
We got 7, Fate, and Hobbs and Shaw. And then we're done with Fast and the Furious.
Yep. And then we're also doing our Rambo reviews coming back on Wednesday at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific Time for Rambo 4, which is just Rambo. And then Tamra from Two Blur Girls and also Fear Street Book Club will be joining us for wrapping up our Fear Street review for Fear Street 1994, Fear Street 1976, and 1666. So we're going to be wrapping that up on Wednesday. And then as far as any other shows go and everything, I actually have someone coming in on Monday at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific Time. We're going to be reviewing Beetlejuice, the 1980s movie Beetlejuice, starring Alec Baldwin, Michael Keaton, and of course, Winona Ryder. So we're going to be doing that on Monday evening. So that's everything that we're going to be doing here at Movie Lovers Unite.
John, a quick second. Weren't we doing Rambo on Wednesday?
I said Monday.
Oh, you talked about... No, yeah, Wednesday was Rambo.
Yeah,
and then
Thursday.
Fear Street was Wednesday.
Oh, okay. No, actually, that's going to be Thursday.
Okay. I was like, because I remember we talked it over, like, we're doing Wednesday.
Yeah, it's Thursday. Okay.
Okay. Sorry. I just wanted to add clarification. Like, wait, did we double book already?
No. We didn't double book or anything like that.
No.
But yeah, we're definitely doing Fair Street on Thursday. We're doing Rambo on Wednesday, and then Monday, where I'm doing my Beetlejuice review. Okay. So that's everything that we're doing here at Movie Lovers Unite. Also, too, guys, if you wanted to go on ahead and donate, give us $5 to $10 of your to just keep the lights here on at Movie Lovers Unite. Just go on ahead and donate to us. How do you do that? Just go to GoFundMe.com/Movie Lovers Podcast. Donate $5 to $10 over here at Movie Lovers Unite. If you guys can't, I totally understand. A simple like, a simple share, simple subscribe goes a long way here. So smash that like button, smash that share button, smash that like, and you're good to go. Then, of course, if you want to, go on ahead and follow us on Facebook at Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite over there, underneath the same brand name on Instagram and also on Pinterest as well. Then, of course, if you want an audio-only podcast, you're just going ahead and get that wherever you guys get your podcast from. Also, too, rate us on Good Pods. That's actually the best, like I said before at the very beginning of this, Good Pods is actually the best app when you listen to a podcast, because you can rate us I can look at your comments, I can like it, I can share your comments and everything, and also interact with you. So Good Pods is actually the better app when you're looking for podcasting. And then, of course, if you want to, go on ahead, email me at movieloversunite@gmail.com. And then you can also go on ahead, follow me under Stereo underneath Movie Lovers Unit. And then also, too, underneath the same name on Twitter as well, at Movie Lovers Unit over there. And those everywhere that you guys can follow us. It's been real. It's been fun. I can't wait to do this again, guys. And until next time, bye-bye.